with the Hiltons. Now, Kat, this is fascinating. A lot of people claim to have known Michael Jackson. You actually went to high school with Jackson, and you stayed close friends with him right until the end of his life. And you've never really spoken about him much in public, not that I could see. Tell me about your relationship with him.
We met when I was 13 and he was 14, and developed a friendship and a bond throughout the years, and we always kept in touch. And then when I moved to New York, and he would come, and we'd always go to his concerts. And you know, we started with, we used to make prank phone calls together, and we were little kids. We had a really great time. And then he came and visited when Paris was born, and then he at the Waldorf.
So he was there when Paris was first.
Oh, when she was a few months old.
Really?
So he ended up moving into the Waldorf for 6 months when we were living there for eight years. And then right before he died, he was at the Bel Air Hotel living while we were renovating our home. So he was there about 3 or 4 months. So we got to spend, you know, great time. And
we talk about misconceptions of Paris. What were the misconceptions about Michael, do you think?
Well, there was a kinder, more generous, loving, sweet, smart, I can't, the most wonderful father. At the Bel Air, he did not have me at all. And when I'd go to pick up the kids to take them somewhere, he'd be brushing their hair and buttoning up the sweater, and just so warm and wonderful. And I love him. His whole family, they're a really wonderful, beautiful family.
Where were you when you heard that he died?
I had just come back to the hotel.
And how did you hear the news?
My assistant told me, and I literally fell on the floor. And my sister came and picked me up, and we went directly to the house because I thought the children would be there.
Did you go to the hospital when you?
Yes.
And what was the scene there?
Just the children and Mrs. Jackson and all the sisters, and just everybody was in this room, and just crying and hugging each other, and just in a daze. And this is a father that was so with his children. He's dedicated since they were born to raising and being with them. And then LaToya and Randy took me in to say goodbye. I think if I hadn't quite in my head believe, because even though he's a friend, he was such a powerful person.
Was he still alive when you said goodbye to him?
Mm-mm.
Did you say anything? What did you say?
I rubbed his head and his arms and his legs and his feet, and I told him I love him so much, and you know, whispered some funny things to him, and
incredibly sad end to his life, wasn't it?
And he was so fabulous at the hotel. Up early every morning, playing with the kids. Really shocking.
Paris, did you know Mike?
Yeah, I grew up, just my mom. I remember one of the first memories I have of him was when my mom took us to the music video set of Thriller, and we have the picture still, and always loved him. We used to go to his concerts, and he'd bring my sister and I on stage, and we would sing up there, and I just always loved him so much. He was such an amazing man.
And he said to me, he said, "Kathy, I'd like to go to Paris." And I said, "Well, she's out of town." "Well, I'd like to see her recording studio." And I said, "Okay, all right." And I said, "Just jump in the car." It was like 8:30 at night. I said, "We don't have to get any security right now. Let's just go. Rick will drive. You jump in the..." And so the kids came, and we all went up, and we were up there at Paris's. And he loves to look at everything. So he's looking at all the pictures on the walls, and he loves art, and in her closet, and then at all her collections of Pinocchio and Tinkerbell and all of that. And he said, "She reminds me that she's I don't remember, what did he say? Something like, she reminds me sometimes a little of the way, you know, certain things that I like, and he loved the gold on the frames, and...
You took him in the studio.
I took him in the studio, and he got to see everything.
Oh, and he was an talent, wasn't he? And he took your name, of course, for one of his children. How did that make you feel?
I was honored. I think...
Was it a direct
Well,
result?
you know what? LaToya will tell you the story. When we were younger, people would say that whoever has the first girl is going to name her Paris. And I had the first girl. So I got to do it first, and then when he had his daughter...
Have you seen the children much since he died?
I saw a couple weeks ago. We went out and had dinner, and I can't believe how big they are. We went over there about 3 weeks ago.
And are they being well looked after? I mean,
are you kidding?
This is by Michael's
They're in
mother.
a new house, and Mrs. Jackson is there. They have an incredible, beautiful home, great security, and we had a big family dinner, and they went up and did their homework and came down and showed Grandma and had their bath, and, you know, said, "Good night, Grandma, I love you," and it was great to see them.
There's a kind of feeling, because I guess of the impending court actions involving the doctor and his death and everything else, that he'd become a sort of character towards the end, addicted to all this medication and so on. Is that an inaccurate portrayal, do you think?
Well, I can tell you that when he was at the Bel Air Hotel, there wasn't none of that, because he was right underneath where I was, and we talked all the time. In fact, if we would be going somewhere in the daytime, he'd say, 1 o'clock down at the fountain. And if I was 5 minutes late, I mean, he was very on top of it. And he was with his kids. I believe in my heart that he got into the concert thing. It was hard for him to sleep, probably. He was not a drug addict. He had a problem going to sleep. I mean, this is not somebody that recreationally would abuse something. And I guess the levels just went up and up and up.
What do you think his legacy will be, Michael Jackson?
Well, I think now that he's gone, everybody realizes what a good person, all the wonderful things that he's done for charity. And it's interesting that we don't hear, well, I won't get into any of that, but just he's left 3 beautiful children.
Who will be his legacy, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take another break. When we come, I want to talk to you about your business empire. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of how you ended up so stinking rich. Back now at the Hilton. I mean, I feel emotionally drained after this interview. Never mind you two. Let's try and lighten the load a bit. Let's talk about money. That always makes people smile, Paris.
Not always.
No, that's true. That's true. But I mean, you've got this extraordinary empire. Talk me through what the empire consists of. How many current businesses do you have?
I have 17 different product lines, so I do everything from fragrances, handbags, clothing, shoes, sunglasses, pet products, stationery, bedding. I do everything. I just launched my 11th fragrance.
And what kind of volumes do these sell, these things? Do you know? Do you keep a handle
I
on
don't
it?
think you know that part.
I do know, but I don't like to discuss money because
Why?
it sounds like it's something my mom always taught me. It just sounds obnoxious when people do that.
Well, the most recent thing I read said that you make about $10 million a year. I would imagine it's more than that, isn't it?
Yes.
Don't talk your politics.
Is it a lot more?
I do very well for myself. I'm very proud of what I've
Don't
done.
talk about money or politics, your mother says.
Both.
I mean, that's extraordinary. I mean, you're making just like this absurd amount of money.
Really proud of what I've accomplished.
What is brand Paris? If you were pitching it to me, what is it? What do you personify?
Fashion, fun, excitement, and amazing products. I really am passionate about every single thing I do, and I really believe in everything, and I worked really hard to achieve all this.
And do you know what you're worth? I mean, do you keep a close eye on the money?
That I bet she does. little cheapskates here.
Yeah, you do?
Down to every... What's this? What's this?
Well, I don't like to be taken advantage of. I feel like people, when they think you have money, they like to take advantage, and
But then she
I don't let
calls
that
me to
happen.
do her dirty.
How do you,
Mom, you've got to call her and tell her.
how do you trust men? I mean, given what happened before that we discussed earlier, and given you're now incredibly rich, I wish when we got married I had signed a bit of paper. I'd be worth a lot of money now. But how do you trust?
It's about someone who has their own thing going on, and I know my boyfriend now loves me for me. And
This is sideways, right? You've been with him a couple of years?
over a year now.
Is this true love?
I've never been happier. He just makes me feel so safe. He's so loyal, and he's my best friend. He's an incredible man. So I feel lucky.
I think we may be seeing some real wedding bells soon.
We'll see what happens. Right now we're how we are, and we'll see what the future holds.
Could you imagine being, 35 and not married?
I'd love to have a family and children in the next couple of years, definitely. Right now, I'm so busy with traveling that I'm for a family right now.
Do you think he's the one?
I do. I couldn't imagine myself with anyone else.
Kathy, what do you think? You've seen them all come and go.
I think he is such a special, sweet, loving person. He really is.
Tell me about the projects you've both got on the go now. This is your chance for an utterly shameless plug now, because you've earned your ticket on this interview.
I am working right now on a ready-to-wear clothing line, cocktail dresses, kind of occasion wear, party dresses, but not breaking the bank. Beautiful,
affordable beauty.
Affordable beauty, really lovely, beautiful, dresses and all age ranges.
Paris? What 37,000 things are you up to?
All my products, my brand, and next up I'm going to be getting into development and opening my own hotels and beach clubs.
Seriously?
Around the world. I can't say where yet because it's a surprise, but within the next few months I'll be
So
announcing.
you're kind of becoming the female Donald Trump, aren't you? Is that the idea? Is that the game plan?
I think
I'll start calling you
Donald
the
is
Paris.
a brand, I look up to him as a businessman. I think he's done incredibly well for himself.
And his daughter Ivanka, it must be about your age, isn't she now? I mean, she's impressive too.
Yeah.
Lovely. The whole family.
Well, listen, I wish you all the best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Fascinating hour. Probably not the hour that people will be expecting when they tuned in at the start of this, but I think it's shown a different side to both of you, to the Hilton family.
Yes. Thank you, Piers.